all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.
Beyond.
Titanfall looks amazing. I know Greg has been playing the crap out of it. I'm probably going to get it on PC. Do you guys think this is going to be the system seller Microsoft is hoping for, and is it truly a huge loss for PlayStation 4 owners? I'm normally not the type to play online shooters, but this one looks special. I will look more towards Colin, because I bet he can talk a little bit more about this than you. I think 120% it's going to be a system seller. Like, I think just the fervor around it this weekend of them pushing the beta codes out that everyone was tweeting them, and then when they said it was open to everybody, I saw people on my Twitter feed saying they were going to go buy their Xbox One now because they could play it finally. I think for sure it is. I think it's one of those things playing it. I'm the same way as Ryan here. I'm not a big first-person shooter fan. I'm not a big online first-person shooter fan in general. I kept saying me and Alfredo are doing a Let's Play video every day leading up to launch. And in it, I give my brief rundown is I haven't played an online shooter since Killzone 2, and this one totally has me. And I'm so locked into it. And I played 7 hours at work with him capturing video, and then came home and played more. And then woke up the next day and played more. Like, I'm super into it, and I think that will be the same way with a lot of people who have Xbox Ones.
Yeah, Titanfall is going to be very big.
Yeah.
Very, very big game. The problem is that it's also available on Xbox 360 and PC. So there's no real reason to buy an Xbox One if you have one of those things, if you have a PC that can play it, or an Xbox 360.
Sure.
The game will be biggest on Xbox 360, and you can take that to the bank.
But it's gonna. I mean, I bet that version's not even remotely the same. That's what I think is gonna happen.
I'm sure it's comparable, and it's being done by a very capable studio that's worked on a lot of PlayStation games. So and not a studio that makes games, but specializes in porting games. So I think Titanfall's gonna sell millions of copies. It's going to bring Xbox One to the fore. Xbox One will outsell PS4 next month in MPDs and stuff like that. And I'm sure it's going to be big, and it looks great. Like, it looks fantastic. I'm not a shooter fan, or an online shooter fan. I don't want to play that. But I think the game looks fun. It looks unique. But I think that it's going to find a huge home on Xbox 360. And I think it's also going to find a huge home on PC. So I just don't... If you have to play it only on Xbox One, that's different, but you don't. You know what I mean? And so I think that's going to be the smallest base of players is going to be on Xbox One.
I think what's going to happen is that, if you're a PC player, fine. But I think that even though they're the majority, like for console gamers and what they do, I think that they're going to look to 360 or Xbox One. They'll see the scores for 360. Because, again, we haven't seen it on 360. Don't get me wrong. I'm totally guessing.
But I don't think that's because it's bad. I think it's because they don't want to acknowledge that it exists. I kind of think that's why they delayed it.
Yeah.
Is because it's like, well, if you can't really wait, then go buy an Xbox One. You know?
I think it's going to work. I think that's going to work for a lot of people. As far as, is it a huge loss for PlayStation 4 owners? That's where it gets trickier. I think that if this was on PlayStation 4, Xbox One wouldn't have a leg to stand on in this fight. There'd be nothing to look to point to. And this is somebody who uses their Xbox One every day, played Titanfall all weekend long. I don't think you'd be like, I bought it for Dead Rising 3, you know what I mean? What would you have bought that for at launch? Right? It's the same with PS4 with Infamous, right? Like, you bought your PlayStation 4 probably getting ready for Infamous. But with Xbox One in particular, PS4 seen Don't Starve, and it's seen Outlast, and it's seen these other games, Resogun, things you want to play, right? Whereas Xbox One has been putting out some experiences, but mainly just sitting there.
Yeah, I don't know. I think, like I said, I think the game's going to sell very well. It's going to sell Xbox Ones. It's going to have a biggest user base on 360, and the fact that the game's available on 360 is going to injure its sales significantly on Xbox One. Now, whether or not that means that it sells 500,000 less on Xbox One because of that or something is, it remains to be seen. But I just think that splitting the audience like that is clever for EA, bad for Microsoft, and they get licensing money. So they get money for every copy of any game sold on their system. So it's not bad for them to sell games on 360. I just think it would have been smarter to have it as an Xbox One exclusive and I'm sure that's what they would have wanted, but. They're working with a third party. They don't own the studio. Yeah. They don't own the IP, and they don't own the publisher. So they're getting the best deal that they possibly can. But I think Titanfall is very easily one of the biggest games of the year. Titanfall is going to be big. It's going to be great. People are going to love it. And I'm interested to see how it does platform to platform. But I think people are sleeping if they think that game is going to have this robust, huge, million-strong audience on Xbox One. It's not going to happen.
Okay.
Not yet. Maybe with the sequel when there's more Xbox Ones out
there.
Sure,
you're just playing the game of where the systems are.
Exactly. I just look at it as if you have an Xbox 360, right, and you're a casual gamer or you're a hardcore gamer, you don't want to make the jump. Xbox One costs $500.
Yeah.
And you're going to buy that just to play Titanfall when you can just play it on what you have already? You know, like that's the major thing that like I have trouble with.
Sure, but the big thing, right, is that it's always a domino, right? People who are going to buy an Xbox One or a PlayStation 4 or any frivolous video game purchase we don't really need in our lives, but you want because it's fun and entertaining, right? You wait for that one thing to be like, when do I finally break down and do it? And so when you see Titanfall come out, you see the different reviews, you see the comparison videos. That I think for a lot of people is going to be their thing of like, I was going to buy an Xbox One anyway, might as well buy it now.
Yeah,
I'm excited for Halo. I'm excited for this. I'm going to go out and get it.
That could be, but I still think that Quantum Break or Halo or the new Gears game or Sunset Overdrive are actually going to be bigger literal system sellers because they are Xbox One exclusive games. You know, you have to have one. Like, this is the only thing I'm trying to say is Titanfall is probably going to be better than all of those games, but
yeah,
we don't know. But you assume this is a top tier, top echelon, superb shooter from a very talented studio. And I know PlayStation fans are upset about not getting it, but presumably we would get the sequel and on PlayStation 4. And either way, I mean, if you want to play them, just go buy an Xbox One. It doesn't hurt to have them both.
Yeah.
We have them both at our house, so I can say Xbox on.
You don't say it at all like that. You don't say it at all. Xbox on. Xbox on. It doesn't work. I hate this thing. That's you every day. And then I walk in, I go Xbox on, and it works.
Greg, I don't say like I say Xbox on.
No, you don't. If you start saying it like that, it will work.
On.
I just love hearing stories about you guys living together.
It's just funny when he's
still
slurs them together the first time, and then it gets worse and worse and worse, and he's thinking his anger will make the Xbox listen more.
I just don't even understand why it's attached to our cable box, but that's for another day.
Users lose all sense of reality and enter another world. Remember, do not underestimate the power of PlayStation.